Today we are going to learn how to derive the formula for finding the surface area of a frustum of a cone, and we are starting right now. Let's take a look at this. This is a cone. And to understand the frustum, let's just cut open the cone from here, divide it into two parts so that we have a bottom part. So we have a smaller cone. So if we take away the smaller cone, this top part that you see, which I have selected, that is called the frustum of a cone. Now since this is a cone and a cone has a circular top, let me draw a circle here at the top, and if I cut across the smaller cone also, we'll have a circular bottom as well. Now since the top is circular, it's going to have a radius as well, and the bottom also is a circle, so that also has to have a radius. But as you can see, the larger circle is at the top and the smaller circle is at the bottom, so both the radii are obviously different. So let me call this as R1 and let me call this as R2. Now a cone has a height too, and to draw the height, let me take it from the vertex of the cone to the top of the circular part, and let me call this height as h1. Now we have a smaller cone as well, and as you can see, the radius of the smaller cone is r2 and that also has a height, so let me call that height as h2. Now let us look at the frustum that I showed you in the beginning. So this part of the frustum that we see, that is, if we take out the smaller cone from this, what we are left with is a frustum. So that has a height as well, and as you can see, that height, let us call it as h. A cone has a slant height as well, and let me call the slant height of the bigger cone as L1, and let me call the slant height of the smaller cone as L2. So what we are left with now is the slant height of the frustum, and let me take the slant height and let's call that L. Now before we actually get into finding the surface area of a frustum, I just wanted to tell you guys that I keep doing these things a lot on my channel, and if this is the first time that you are coming here, why don't you just click on the subscribe button below the video and get subscribed to the channel, and yes, do not forget to hit on the bell notification also. So coming back to the figure, we see that we have a triangle here, and let me name the triangle as ABC. And let me call these points as D and E. Now we see two triangles here. One is triangle ABC and the other is triangle DEC. Now as you can see, angle C is common in both the triangles, and if we look at angle A and angle D, they are both perpendicular to the radius, so they both are going to be 90 degrees. And whenever two angles of any two triangles are equal, those two triangles are said to be similar triangles. So looking at this, we can say that triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEC. Now if you don't know the properties of a similar triangle, I've done a video on that too, and I'll leave a link on the top right corner of the screen, and you can have a look at that video by clicking on the link there. So according to the properties of a similar triangle, the corresponding sides of the two triangles, or the ratio of the corresponding sides of the two triangles, are going to be equal. So using that property, we can say that if we look at the bases of both the triangles, we can say that R1, which is the base of triangle ABC, over the base of the triangle DEC, which is R2, is going to be equal to the hypotenuses, or the ratio of the hypotenuses of the two triangles. So that is going to be L1 for ABC and L2 for DEC. And if we look at the slant height of the frustum, or L, we can easily see that it is nothing but the slant height of the bigger cone minus the slant height of the smaller cone. So L is going to be equal to L1 minus L2. Now let's try and find out what the curved surface area of a cone is. So we know that formula for the curved surface area of a cone, and that is pi RL, where R is the radius of the cone and L is the slant height. And if you don't know how to derive that formula, I've done a video on that too, which I've again linked on the top right corner of the screen. You can just click on that link and have a look at the video. Now if we want to find the surface area, of the curved surface area of the frustum shown here, all we can do is we can find the surface area of the bigger cone and take out the surface area of the smaller cone from that, and what we'll be left with is the surface area of the frustum. So if we look at the surface area of the bigger cone, it has got a slant height of L1, so I'll just make it L1 here, and it has a radius of R1, so I'll make that as R1. And we subtract from that the surface area of the smaller cone, which is going to be nothing but pi times the radius of the smaller cone, which is R2, times the slant height of the smaller cone, which is L2. Now unfortunately, whenever we are looking at a frustum in real life, we don't know what part of the bigger cone it is and what is the smaller cone that has been cut off. So we don't know the values of L1 and L2 actually. So we'll have to derive, or we'll first have to find the values of L1 and L2 in terms of L. So for that, let me just have a look at this relationship again, that R1 upon R2 is going to be L1 upon L2, but L1, we can see from this equation that L1 is going to be nothing but L plus L2, since L2 goes to the other side, and that becomes over L2. Now we can distribute the denominator to both the terms, so we can say that R1 upon R2 is going to be L over L2 plus L2 over L2, which is nothing but 1. We can take 1 to the other side, which is R1 upon R2 minus 1 is going to be equal to L upon L2. We can simplify the left hand side, so we can take R2 as the common denominator and we get R1 minus R2, that is going to be equal to L upon L2. Now if I want to find the value of L2 here, I can just take L2 to the opposite side. I can take R2 to the other side, so we can write that as LR2 over, and this R1 minus R2 can come in the denominator here, so that's going to be L2 is equal to LR2 over R1 minus R2. So let me erase all of this and start again by looking at this equation here, where we'll now find the value of L1. So we can say that L1 is going to, we can take L2 to the other side. So we can say that L1 is going to be equal to L plus L2. Now in this, I'm going to substitute the value of L2 that we just found out. So L1 will become equal to L plus, here I bring down the value of L2, which is LR2 over R1 minus R2. So simplifying the right hand side, we can just multiply R1 minus R2 to L, so that becomes LR1 minus LR2, and we already have a LR2 in the second term, so that becomes plus LR2 over R1 minus R2. So we can write that also here, that L1 is equal to LR1 upon R1 minus R2. Let me erase this thing also. And we can now substitute these values of L1 and L2 and find out the curved surface area of the frustum. So that becomes pi R1, and instead of L1 here, I can write LR1 over R1 minus R2 minus pi R2, and instead of L2 I can write LR2 over R1 minus R2. Now out of both these terms, what we can do is we can take some things common. So I can take pi as common, and I can see that also L is common in both of them. So taking pi L as common, we are left with R1 times R1 here, so that becomes R1 square, and minus R2 times R2 here, so R2 square, over the denominator is the same, so R1 minus R2. Now we can see that in the numerator we have got R1 square minus R2 square. So using the identity A square minus B square is equal to A minus B times A plus B, we can replace this by R1 minus R2 times R1 plus R2, and the denominator remains the same, R1 minus R2. Then we can cancel out these R1 minus R2 from the numerator and the denominator. So what we are left with is pi L times R1 plus R2, and that, my dear students, gives us the formula for this curved surface area of a frustum of a cone. Sometimes what happens is we are not given the slant height of the frustum also, but we can easily find that if we are given the height of the frustum and the two radii, which is R1 and R2, we can easily find the slant height. So to do that, let me divide this into another triangle. So I can draw a line from here, this line in blue. So this part that you can see on top, we know that the full radius of the top circle is R1 and the radius of the bottom circle is R2. So this part that is left here is going to be R1 minus R2, because we have got a rectangle here of which the breadth is R2 and the height is h. And you can see that this is also a right angle triangle, so we can apply the Pythagoras theorem here, and we can say that the square of the hypotenuse, which is L square, is going to be equal to the square of the height, which is h square, plus the square of the base, which is R1 minus R2 whole square. And to find the slant height, we can just take the square root of both the sides, and we can say that the slant height of the frustum is h square plus R1 minus R2 whole square. Now we have already learned how to find the curved surface area of the frustum. We have already know the slant height also now. We now just have to find the total surface area, and in the total surface area you know that it also includes a circle on top and a circle at the bottom. So to find the total surface area, what you are going to do is you are just going to add the area of these two circles to the curved surface area formula, and you get the total surface area. So to this you can just add pi r1 square plus pi r2 square. So that is about the curved surface area. And if you haven't seen the video on how to find the volume of a frustum, I've made a video on that too, and you can just have a look by clicking on this video right here. You can also click on my picture to get subscribed to the channel so that you don't miss any future update, and you can click on this link to get all the videos on mensuration. And why not have a look at this video also. So that's it for now. See you in the next video. Bye. Take care. God bless.